Class is now open. The first thing I want you to be aware of on this latch, do you see this little prong right there? Not all latches have that. But if you have a door that has a thumb turn and a key on the other side, you want to make sure that the latch has this. Now, they generally will have that when you buy that at the store. So if you have a passage handle here without this little prong, because see, on a passage handle, which means no lock, you won't have this. Or like a privacy bathroom lock that has a push button on one side and a little hole on the other side, you won't have this little goodie right there. So if you ever have a privacy handle and you want to put a locking handle entry knob or handle lock unit on your bedroom door, let's say, you still want to go ahead and replace this latch. You might think, the other one looks just like it, what's the big difference? I don't want to unscrew that, take that all apart. This one's fine. Well, you want to do that because there is a reason why you want this little goodie here. Figured it out yet? Now, I may be throwing a lot of information at you, but you just have to listen to the videos that I'm going to do here and play them back if you get confused, or send me a comment. Okay, so this latch, the reason why that's there is, watch, when I push that in, if I push that in about that far, I can't push this in at all. Look at that. I'm pushing as hard as I can, and that latch is not going to open because that's pushed in. Okay? Now, see what happens when it's out all the way? I can just push it in. Now here's something else interesting. If this little latch goodie doesn't go in far enough, see, if I just push it in a little bit, I can still push the door latch in. A little bit more, and I can still do it. A little bit more though, right about there. See that? Can't do it. Now why does it do that? Well, if you can imagine this door, I'll bring you in a little bit closer here. Now do you see why? When this door closes, it's gonna close into the latch, the strike plate that it's called. So if your strike plate is set up properly, only this big portion, not this little goodie here, that's not going to go into the hole. Just this is going to go into the hole. Okay? Then this slides back and that sets on the surface of your strike plate. And this goes in, the big section, clunk, goes in, and that little section doesn't go in the strike plate. That's the first thing I want you to know about. Now you might be thinking, okay, Joe, you're just going on and on again like some of your other videos. Just get to the point. Well, I'm trying to show you the different information so that you realize and understand how something works. Then you will be able to unlock this door without a key on emergencies or something like that, if you know the basics on how everything works. And that's just how Joe is programmed. I'm not programmed into just getting right on in there and doing it without explaining it. All right? All right. Now at first glance you might think everything's fine with this door, but I'm going to zoom this in a little bit. See how big the gap is between the door and the jamb? Right there. Look how much room there is there. There's probably almost a good, I'm going to guess at least a 1/4 inch right there. Maybe a hair more. That could be stretching 5/16. Okay, you only want about an 1/8 inch or no more than 3/16. So already there's a huge gap there. I don't really like that. Here's what I mean. It could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. But with that gap in there, the little goodie in there that hits up against the strike plate, it might not be going in far enough. Okay, can you see if that big gap is there? This might not be pushing in far enough, and if it's not, you can push that in, and it's not going to keep this from latching. Okay? But for our purposes here, I checked it, and it is still locking just barely. This was just barely pushed in far enough to keep this from pushing in. Okay? It's right on the border though. Okay? That's going to be important for later on. Now, like I say, that could have been a good thing, could have been a bad thing. It just depends on your latch and how far this is mortised in, the latch, strike plate, and all that. Now, let's just make believe that there's hardly any gap here at all, right here. Okay? Now, if there was hardly any gap there, can you see that latch, the pin right here, if it doesn't go in far enough, I'm going to just be able to open that up. So man, on this particular door, I wished there was hardly any gap here at all. I mean, almost so that the door was rubbing. If it was, I would be able to unlock this door easier and quicker than not. Okay? Just keep all this stuff in mind. All right? Now that's what this is all about. That's what this latch is all about. Okay? Keeping it locked so that when this door is locked, somebody can't push this in. Because see, if that was closed like that, your first reaction would be, oh, I know how to get into there. I'll just take a putty knife and I'll just go in there and pull this latch open and get it. Well, you can't do that. You can't pull this latch in because this pin is keeping you from pulling that open. Okay? So you can't do that on this type of door. You might be able to do it on a privacy handle. And like I say, a privacy handle is one that does not have a key on it. Well, just a second. Let me show you what a privacy handle looks like. See there? That's the outside of the privacy handle. It just has a little hole in there, and on the other side there's a push button. And on something like that, the side latch doesn't have that little pin. Now let's check this one and make sure. Here's that same door on the inside. See, there's no little pin on that latch. It's just one little latch with no pin. And on this handle, it's just got a push button in the middle. And in fact, this push button is broken. It's not even pushing in or anything. That needs to be replaced. Wow. Now here's one more important aspect to realize. I told you, you push that in a little bit and you can't push this in, right? If you don't push this in very far, then it goes in all the way. All right? But let's say, is it possible for this door to be closed all the way and for you to just be able to open it like that? Yes. That's if this little pin catches inside of the entire strike. Can you see that if that fits into the entire strike, and sometimes it does, if you're not watching it and don't adjust the door properly, you could have that problem. Did you know that? Yes. So if that fits in the entire strike plate, now maybe I could unlock this door by just pushing on it. You know what I mean? So when I close this door, most of the time when you close a door, you just want it to close and snap shut, and that's it. Like that. Okay, but some doors have a slop there. Now watch. See that? That's a lot of slop. Now you can adjust a strike plate to get away from that slop. If you have too much, that little pin, you see how that pin could get caught in there? And I tried on this door, and it's barely not fitting into there. So that, for our point, for keeping it locked, that's a good thing. Okay? But I wanted you to bear that in mind, because it might have an important part of unlocking this door without a key.